Hello, I'm Dr. Debbie. For more than 25 years, I've been helping men, women, and couples find more effective ways to apply their biblical values and the findings of research to everyday life. First, as a clinical psychologist, now as a teacher and coach. Here's my question for you today. Have you ever been confused by what your mate says and does? If you're like almost everybody else on the planet, at one time or another you've thought your mate was crazy or stupid or both. Well, I certainly have had those thoughts too. I grew up in a single parent home and I had zero contact with my father for the first 3 decades plus of my life. I married the first time when I was 18, determined to never divorce. Turns out I didn't have complete control over that. We hit a roadblock that I didn't know how to get past. The truth is, I didn't always have the help that I needed. Neither of us did. Consequently, we bumbled our way right out of our marriage. For a long time, I was convinced that he was the one with the problem. After all, he was the one who wanted out. I was willing to work on whatever was broken, and I thought we would have to do that together. I was wrong. There was so much more I could have done. Would it have made a difference? I don't know, but I still wish someone would have shown me the path. Our premarital counseling was done by the pastor of my hometown church. He was a good man whom I considered to be a grown-up, probably 35, 40-ish, with 3 kids and an active church, but clueless about how to counsel anyone. We had one premarital session. His advice? My wife and I got married when we were 19, so I'm sure you'll make it too. Somehow, we did make it through his college degree, his career changes, and me giving birth to 3 sons. We were married for 16 years, and after being a stay-at-home mom for 12 and a half years, I had to go find a job and figure out how to parent boys by myself. Some great friends helped carry me through the immediate crisis. A few years later, another group of friends encouraged me to pursue my dream of going to college. They even presented me with a backpack full of school supplies to get me started on my journey. Along that road is where I learned a lot about what happened to my marriage. There were 2 main areas that I needed to address: my own identity and my understanding of men. Fortunately, not everyone gets that far before the questions arise. After earning my doctorate in clinical psychology, I taught a course on the psychology of men at Azusa Pacific University. One of my students was about to make her final presentation in class. She stood up, took a deep breath, and said, "Before I start, I just want to say that I used to hate men. I thought they were all jerks. This course has completely changed my mind. I have far more compassion for guys than I ever thought possible." I'm confident she wasn't the only woman who didn't know the truth about men's experience. Another way I helped spread the news was through seminars. I got an email from one attendee who said, "My sister was having problems in her marriage, and I went online to try to find help for her. I hadn't told anyone I was planning to walk out on my own marriage. But your seminar and book changed my mind. My husband and I read your book together, and it saved our marriage." More recently, a woman reached out to me because of her sister. She told me what was going on and why she was ready to walk away after 40 plus years of marriage to her college sweetheart. I suggested she conduct a few experiments with her husband and let me know what happened. A week later, she came on with a big smile. She didn't understand why, but change had already occurred in the way her husband was behaving. She just kept chipping away at the wall between them with a new experiment each week. It wasn't long before she was able to recognize what had happened to her own identity during the marriage, and she was able to embrace some very encouraging realities about who God created her to be. Now, not everyone who hears my messages experiences such a radical, positive change. I wish they did. Most women do see a change in their husbands in a short amount of time, but I realize from my own personal experience that simply knowing the truth about men doesn't solve the entire equation. There's still the issue of a woman's identity. Life is filled with roadblocks. They're there for a reason. When you're driving, you may encounter a detour due to a flooded road, construction, or a car accident. But there's always an alternate route. Unless there isn't, then you need to change destination or delay a bit and wait for an opportune moment. Flooded roads are a normal part of life on Earth. Stuff happens that's out of your control. Construction can be frustrating, but we do enjoy the upgrade when it's finished, and sometimes people's issues, including our own, get between us and where we want to be. When you're married, you're going to encounter roadblocks too. Life is always changing and presenting new challenges. First, adjusting to one another's personal style and habits. Then, defining your relationship roles and becoming a powerful team. How about growing your family, including normal physical and emotional changes? Then there's always coping with illness, career changes, housing upgrades, extended family. What about finding fun things to do together? Talking about sex and spirituality, managing money, and growing old together. So what do you need to know to create a joyful, lifelong romance? What do you need to know about marriage? What do you need to know about the opposite sex? And what do you need to know about yourself? I'll be discussing each of these in my free seminar, How to Turn Your Roadblocks into Milestones. Won't you join me? Remember, I'm here to help.